What is up, ladies and gents? It's Monday night, so you know what that means. Hopefully, you know what that means.
Another episode of The Greatest Show on YouTube.
Quite possibly.
That's what I'm figuring.
We have been heralded by the masses as the
New
greatest.
York Times has said emphatically that
Yes.
they have absolutely no idea what this show is
Yeah.
or who we are.
But if they did, that it would be great.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this? Week 3 of our action franchise.
Yep.
Film
week 3
analysis.
of 4.
Yeah.
So this week we're looking at the Mission Impossible series, quite possibly my favorite.
Oh, this one's a real heavy hitter in the action film franchise.
See what you did there.
But yeah, a spoiler alert, I think this is going to be kind of a gush fest because
I don't dispute that.
yeah, I think these are some of my favorite fucking action movies ever.
Yeah.
So we'll
Well,
get to it.
just to back it up a little bit and give everybody an idea of what we're doing. So we've taken the greatest action movie franchises of the recent past, right? So we're doing The Matrix, 007, Mission Impossible, and then next week we're going to round everything out with the Bourne series, thanks to a viewer request that brought it to our attention that, a list would not be a list without Jason Bourne. And I'm sorry, my dog is over here losing its mind because my wife is coming in to the house. So this week, Mission Impossible. I had a really good time watching all 3 of these movies over a 2-day period. I love the Mission Impossible series pretty much as a whole, but I think 4, 5, and 6 are stellar examples of what you get when you have somebody like J.J. Abrams and somebody like Tom Cruise, who is one of the best, one of the better, I won't say the best, but one of the better action movie guys, and then a whole cast surrounding that guy that's, you got Ving Rhames, you got Simon Pegg, you got Alec Baldwin, who turned out to be, pretty dope. So I think
Simon Pegg is one of the highlights.
Oh, dude, he's comedy gold,
Yep.
right when he needs to be, but everything that comes out of his mouth is fucking hilarious.
Yep.
There's one part in Fallout where he gets kind of serious.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's even when he had a bomb strapped to his chest, he's still a smartass.
Yep.
You know?
He's fucking hilarious.
So let's get some stats. We're gonna start with obviously Ghost Protocol.
Yep. So, and just like a little pre-info. So for me, Mission Impossible, like 1 is kind of a standalone thing, 2 is kind of a standalone thing. But I think episodes like 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all pretty much the same timeline. We're only talking about 4, 5, and 6 tonight. But if you watched them and you enjoyed them, I would definitely say go back and watch 3 as well, because it kind of leads up to everything in 4, 5, and 6. Or it kind of ties in, at least. It doesn't really lead up. But anyway, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol came out in 2011. It was directed by Brad Bird, stars Tom fucking Cruise, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Paula Patton. So it has a pretty stout cast. Runtime of 133 minutes. Budget was $145 million. And at the box office, it made $694.7 million, which I believe that's more than $145 million. So
Yeah,
you could probably call that a success.
only slightly. They really edged it out. They were cutting it close.
Yeah, my math's not great, dude.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, it has 93% positive reviews out of 238 reviews. It has an average rating of 7.7 out of 10. So
Seems a
it's
little
also a
low.
critical success. Yeah, I would say the average score is a little low. But what what were your thoughts on Ghost Protocol?
All right, so Ghost Protocol um, was probably my least favorite of the three that we watched. As Brittany brought it up, we were watching it. She's like, "Yeah, I literally watched this like 2 weeks ago with Spencer," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't care. I'm watching it again because it's Mission Impossible." And we watched it, and it was, even though she had just recently seen the movie, she was still engaged with it. Like, I can tell Brittany's into something, right? And I use her as my gauge most of the time. Like, when tomorrow, for example, we'll sit down and watch Born Identity, because that goes into next week. So we'll watch that, and I'll gauge how interested she gets in the movie, because she's not really a movie person per se, but she'll be sitting there. I noticed during Ghost Protocol, even though she had just seen it 2 weeks ago, she was sitting there reading on her phone, and then she'd look up, and then she'd read a little bit, and then she'd look up, and eventually it was just like her phone's sitting in her lap and she's eyeballing the screen, even though she knew what was going to happen. So I think it's good. It's well written. The storyline kind of gives you a little bit of idea of what went on beforehand, like, but they didn't waste any time associating uh, why he knew this person and where this person came from and stuff like that. So, but it also didn't waste time trying to inject people from the first movie that you would have no idea about. If you know, if there was no, they weren't trying to sync up the plot from the first three to 4, 5, and 6. It was kind of its own little trilogy, as it were. I don't know. Like I said, I think it was my least favorite of all of them, but it was still a really well done movie.
Yeah. And I mean, these movies are insane.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking old is Tom Cruise? I don't know.
I don't know. How old's Tom Cruise, Brittany? Do you know?
I say probably 49, 50.
She said
He's
probably
50,
50.
57.
57?
57 years old.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
granted, when this movie came out, which was 9 years ago, so he was probably 48, 49, and he
Dude.
climbed that fucking building. Like, he legitimately, that was him climbing the Burj Khalifa. Granted, there were wires and cables and shit. He wasn't free soloing it, but still,
Yeah.
this fucking 50-year-old man climbing a goddamn.
Dude, I hope I look a piece of as good at 50 as he did in this movie, and even in fucking Fallout.
Dude, I don't even look a piece of that good now.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
know
like
it.
a third of his age.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that fucking Scientology shit works, man.
It's got to.
But yeah, these movies. So the action is obviously good, right? But like, if you compare it to like John Wick,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would say that the hand-to-hand combat in John Wick is probably better than anything you see in Mission Impossible, like hand-to-hand combat wise. But the action set pieces and like the shootouts and all of that shit, I think in Mission Impossible you can't beat it. Like in any of them,
Yeah.
you know, well, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 3 not so much, but 4, 5, and 6. And I think this is probably the only series that I've seen where the sequels just continuously get better. You know, like I think Ghost Protocol is better than 3. I think Rogue Nation is better than Ghost Protocol, and I think Fallout's the best one that they've done so far, which gives me a lot of fucking hope towards 7 and 8 when they come out, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the only misstep really was 2, and that was directed by a different guy. But I don't know. This movie is just fucking crazy. It's fast paced, just like all of them are. They're acted really well. The fact that the majority of the cast decided to do their own stunts because they saw Tom Cruise hanging off the fucking Burj Khalifa, they were like, well, I guess we'll do our own stunts too. Fuck it. And that's kind of just carried over into all of the movies. It's just a fun fucking movie, man.
Yeah, it's really good. Like I said, the storyline to me, okay, I feel like you could watch Ghost Protocol by itself and not have questions at the end, right? And I don't like it when movies, even if they know there's going to be another one, right? And in a series like Mission Impossible, where you're on number 4, they knew there was going to be a 5, right? They knew Rogue Nation was going to be there, but they didn't leave any loose ends, right? They tied everything up, but they didn't tie it up so tight that you couldn't feasibly get out of it for Rogue Nation, right? It was kind of vague, especially dealing with like the government side of it, right? You figured out why this dude was there, what his big deal was. They figured out a way to make it to where, well, the nuclear warhead wound up here, but we got it taken care of because Ving Rhames' character comes in and says, hey, I spent an entire weekend in the fucking San Francisco Bay digging out nukes, blah, blah, blah. And just little stuff like that. And then you realize at the end they kept their job, and MI6 was or the IMF was all safe, and this, that, and the other. So, and I think that kind of fell apart a little bit in Rogue Nation, where there was some sort of they tied it up, but they also, in the process of tying up the end, the loose ends at the end of the movie, they kind of opened the door for Fallout, right? When it said, I guess so, Mr. Secretary, as they're walking down the thing, like, oh shit, well, he knows what's going to go on, so blah, blah, blah.
Well, the thing that, like, okay, so it would be super easy for Mission Impossible 4 to end on a cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It would be super easy for it to do that. And then obviously you would be hyped up for number 5. But the fact that they're able to make each of these movies where they stand on their own and you can watch one of them and you're satisfied, but it's like the other movies just elevate the other movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can watch 4 and you can understand everything going on. But if you watch 3 beforehand, you have more of an appreciation for the ending of 4, right? When he sees his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Right? And you realize, oh, this motherfucker, that's the chick from 3 that, he had to end up leaving her for her own safety, right? To keep her safe because they found out they could exploit his weakness. And each movie is self-contained, but they also elevate each other.
Yeah.
So I really like that about these movies because, like I said, it'd be super easy to end 4 on a cliffhanger. Right.
But for that matter, it would have been easy for any of the 3 that we're talking about to be left on a cliffhanger.
Right. And they didn't. They didn't. And the fact that, like, even, and we'll get to it, but after Fallout, the story's wrapped up, but you're still fucking ready for 7.
Yeah.
So I really like that aspect of these movies. Like, they're just so fucking entertaining. The fucking stunts in these movies are second to none, man. They're second to none.
Well, I can tell you this. Fallout had one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. On the side of a fucking mountain after the most ridiculous helicopter scene you'll ever watch. So,
but before, because I know we both want to talk about Fallout.
Yeah.
So Ghost Protocol, what would you rate it out of 5?
I give it a 4.
Okay.
I give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay.
I think it's really good. There's really nothing that I don't like about Ghost Protocol. It's just I'm having to judge the rating. I'm having to judge the rating based on the other 2 as well.
Yeah.
Like, in the frame of the Mission Impossible franchise, I think this is this is a 4.5. 4 would probably be closer, but I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's entertaining. It's got some great fucking action in it. It's just a fun fucking movie. If you've never seen any of these movies, you're missing out.
Yeah. Look, I would strongly suggest you start with MI3
Yep.
and roll forward to Fallout, because I agree it has to be, if you're going to watch all of them, start at 1 and go, right? But just understand that 1, 2 are kind of their own separate thing, and the full storyline that carries through to part 6 starts in 3.
Yeah.
So 3, 4, 5, 6 are all kind of an extension of one another in that kind of sense. So
Yeah.
Rogue Nation.
So Rogue Nation came out in 2015, and it was directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He's also the same guy that directed Fallout, and he's the same guy that will be directing 7 and 8, which makes me very, very happy.
Good.
It also stars the same people with the addition of Rebecca Ferguson
And Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, and Alec Baldwin. Let's see. Runtime 131 minutes. Budget of 150 million, and at the box office, it made 682.7 million, which is actually a little bit less than Ghost Protocol made, but still enough to, I think, be considered
a smash.
A pretty big financial success. On Rotten Tomatoes, it also has 93% positive reviews. It's got 312 reviews and an average rating of 7.48 out of 10, which I'm going to say is low. Because I think that Rogue Nation is better than Ghost Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least as good. Like, yep. I wish we could give 3/4 ratings here, but
I don't know. I think it's I think Rogue Nation is better. And the only reason I say, right, is, again, these are all 3 movies that I saw when they came out, right? I saw them as soon as they were available for, if I didn't see them in the theater, I saw them like the day they hit Redbox or Netflix or, Amazon or whatever the case was, the day they were available, I went and watched them. Yeah. So, I don't know. Dude, Rogue Nation is... it's so hard for me to call which one I like better, Rogue Nation or Fallout. And I'll go ahead and spoil it. I'm going to give this one a 5.
Okay.
Like, not even a question. I think it's probably the perfect Mission Impossible movie, which is hard to say because I liked Fallout better. So the next 2 movies are getting 5s because I can't go above a 5 for Fallout.
Okay.
I would say Fallout's probably a 7 out of 10. So this one, right, Rogue Nation is more of the kind of whodunit type deal, and you've got the fact that you've got Alec Baldwin's character, who's the director of the CIA, that is literally leading a chase. It switches to Havana, Cuba, and it shows Ethan Hunt in a fucking room doing pull-ups with a beard grown out, and you hear what's behind the door, and you've got the guys running up the stairs, and they kick the fucking door open, and he's looking at the fucking the Eiffel Tower, and they realize this dude's we're never gonna catch him. And the dude, like, he just told you're not gonna fucking catch him.
Yeah.
You're never going to catch him. And then 6 months later, there's proof right there. This one also did another thing. And I noticed this when we were talking about, it was either Skyfall or Spectre last week, that there is sequential time in countdowns, right? So, like, if somebody sets a timer on a bomb for 11 minutes, it goes off in 11 minutes, right? They did it in this one, and they did it in Fallout. When he set that 15-minute timer, I looked at my phone and I was like, okay, 6:42. And then when the bomb went off, I looked over and I was like, oh shit, that was 15 fucking minutes. So the timer played out in real time. And I never would have noticed that if we hadn't talked about it last week in the 007 franchise. But I don't know. It had everything that a dumb movie watcher like myself likes. There's no artistic bullshit. There's fucking fight scenes that you don't see coming. There's double and triple and quadruple crosses, right? That all take place in an opera where it's like they would never be able to get away with this. But I mean, the fact that there were 4 shots that got off in an opera with silenced rifles and it could absolutely be done, like, it's believable. The action is fucking awesome. That whole movie was fucking. It was a banger. It was an absolute banger.
Did you? So remember when we talked about 007 and I said, remember the Spectre when we talked about Rogue Nation? Because the Syndicate is really a similar idea to what they were trying to do in Spectre.
Yep.
But this does it so much better.
Yeah.
Like, this does it 1,000 times better. And I think that was kind of my whole reasoning with why I didn't like Spectre that much, is how they dealt with that rogue organization. This is the perfect setup for it. It's the perfect, and really there is no, like, they set it up in that movie, in Rogue Nation. They set up this idea of the Syndicate. I think they say something about it at the very end of Ghost Protocol, right? But it's set up completely in this movie, and it fucking makes sense. The record store where he goes in there and he fucking shoots that girl. It's like, you really don't need anything more than that to automatically fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that automatically establishes, all right, that's the fucking bad guy. Get him,
And he didn't even say anything.
He didn't say anything. But it's just, and the way that when he gets his mission or whatever, and it turns out that the Syndicate had already hacked that's fucking cool. What about Tom Cruise legitimately hanging off the side of a plane?
Yeah.
As it took off? Like, he did that?
Yeah, that's what I was telling Spencer. He was in there watching it for the first, 20 minutes of it with me yesterday. And he was like, he runs and jumps on the wing of the plane, and he gets down there, and I'm like, now watch this. This is legit. Like, he actually did this. And he's like, what? Yeah, this is all real right here. Yeah. So he's watching, he's like, there's no way he did that. I'm like, I'm telling you, hand of God.
Yeah, and there's behind the scenes footage of him doing it, and like, apparently a rock shot up and hit him in the fucking ribs and cracked one of his ribs or some shit, because just a little rock, but you're going that fucking fast.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing 300 miles an hour.
It's fucking crazy, dude. There's so much, like, these movies are the perfect synthesis of our view, like what we want in movies. Yeah. Because they have all of the elements that appeal to, like, just your average moviegoer that just wants some popcorn and to watch some shit blow up. Yeah. But also for someone like me that's a little bit more analytical, there is the plot is good. It makes sense. There's some, like you said, some double crosses and some shit like that kind of keeps you guessing. There's also the cinematography. Every shot in these movies is filmed fucking great. Like, everything is shot really well. It's directed really well. And then I really enjoy when actors actually do the fucking shit they're supposed to be doing. Yep. And the fact that in this, he hangs off the side of a fucking plane as it's taking off. He legitimately held his breath for 6 minutes underwater. Like, he actually did that. Okay, David fucking Blaine. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? And what's crazy is, in the final cut of the movie, they kind of cut in between, so you can't really tell that it's all one take. When he's underwater. Yeah. But he was legitimately underwater for 6 minutes. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, that's fucking nuts. That's dedication, man. Yeah. Like, there's just, It's a great fucking movie. You said you give it a 5. Fuck it, I give it a 5.
Yeah, I think it's and it's all again self encapsulated, but it has some. It has a shout out to the movie before, and it has a shout out to the movie coming up. Right?
Yeah,
It leaves you. It's not a cliffhanger, but it leaves you with something that in the next movie you can go, oh shit, that's the dude from that they fucking thought he flipped off a cliff or some shit in the last movie. He fucking survived the airplane crash or whatever the case is, you know.
yeah,
Uh, and they do that with a couple of different a couple of characters, like the girl from British Intelligence. She rears her head in number 2 or in Fallout, and
yeah,
then Alec Baldwin's character comes back, and he's, you know, he's still kind of the I don't know that I fully understand your reasoning, but I got your back nonetheless. And then at the end, it turns out that he did believe, and he went through the proper channels, and he did what he needed to do, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice to show that he believed what he was, you know, what these guys were doing. So the only thing I didn't like about Rogue Nation is the ending, but it is still a perfect movie because it gives you just enough to where the side of me that wants to see the completion aspect of it, right, where I could say, okay, now I see what happened in the days and weeks following, you know, this. But what happened to this and what happened to that? You know, having a couple of additional questions that didn't really. I think they kind of skimmed over the foreshadowing or the tying up of loose ends in Fallout. But if that's literally the only thing I have to bitch about, is they could have added an extra 2 minutes of explanation as to what happened at the end, dude. That's not even a knock.
what and I really like the introduction of Ilsa. I think she's great.
Oh yeah,
I think she's really great. Like the way that her and Tom Cruise play off of each other, I really like that.
Yeah.
And I like that she's kind of, I don't know, because like I liked the girl that was in 3,
yeah,
and then when they had to get rid of her, I was like, well, I get it, but I kind of, you know, it's kind of nice when he has someone there, you
Yeah.
know, to have some sort of chemistry with or something. It just gives a little bit more to the movies.
yeah.
And plus the fact that she's a certified badass, you know.
Duh.
So Rogue Nation is great, dude. But as much as it doesn't make any sense to say this because we both gave it 5s, Fallout is even better.
Yeah.
So I guess Fallout's a 6 out of 5.
Yeah. So I don't. I've already typed in the scores because I know what they're going to be for Rogue Nation and for Fallout. So
Yeah.
uh,
Like these movies are legitimately, like, if you think of action blockbuster,
mhm.
these set the fucking bar. Like 100%. And like Tom Cruise is a polarizing guy, and I think that's why he gets a lot of shit. Like a lot of people don't like these movies is because they don't like Tom Cruise. But dude, this guy could literally, there could be a video come out tomorrow of Tom Cruise punting a kitten across a field.
And
I'm
these are
still
still the
gonna
best
think these
action movies
right.
ever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
so Fallout came out in 2018. It was, like I said, it was also directed by Christopher McQuarrie.
I bet that one did $1 billion, dude.
You would think, wouldn't you? Let's see. It has a runtime of 147 minutes. So damn near 2.5 hours long, and time doesn't drag at all.
Never checks up.
Budget of 178 million, and at the box office, it made 791.1 million.
Well, that's close.
So I mean, it's good, but yeah, this movie should have broke $1 billion. Critical response on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 97% positive reviews.
Yeah,
There's 416 reviews with an average rating of 8.36 out of 10.
And that's low.
And that's low.
Yeah.
But this fucking movie, dude. I remember the first time I told you to watch this movie, I was like, this is the greatest fucking movie.
Well, you know what? When I watched it the first time, I was like, okay, this is the epitome of a perfect action movie. It's got car chases, it's got fight scenes, it's got fucking people getting mowed down by assault rifles, it's got fucking helicopter chases, it's got more hand-to-hand combat, it's got the butthole puckering factor of they just set the timer on a fucking nuclear device, 2 of them to be exact. Like, this is about, this could end quite literally the worst possible scenario, right? So the fact that even in the back of my mind at the beginning of the helicopter chase scene, I was like, you know, this is kind of bullshit, because I don't believe they could do blah, 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 because I don't understand the logistics of flying 2 fucking helicopters. Because my initial thought was, while you have that giant thing on the rope, right, why don't you just fly above them, get a little bit ahead of them, and drop the fucking thing on them, and then boom, you got the dude on the ground. Like, hey, there he is right there. You land the helicopter, you go whip his ass, shoot him in the face. And you know what? That's the only thing that kind of pisses me off about all of these movies, starting with The Matrix and ending with The Bourne Ultimatum, is like, nobody shoots the motherfucker that needs to be shot. The only one that does that is John Wick. Like, he finds the person and he fucking murders them. Like, you're an assassin, go fucking kill this guy. Right? Yeah. John Wick's the only one that does it. Had they not had the 5-minute scene underground where they're talking to the CIA agent that's rogue, right? The bad guy, if they just fucking shot him, movie's over, right? Yeah. There is no, so I understand why they don't do it, but like, dude, sometimes the dialogue just gets in the fucking way, man. Just shoot the motherfucker, please. God damn.
You have to suspend some disbelief just because certain things have to happen for a movie to happen, right? Like that. Yeah. I mean, and we've talked about that since the first fucking, remember in Collateral, our very first episode, where the cop pulls him over and you're like, that was horse shit. And I'm like, well, you have to, certain things have to happen for a movie to happen, you know? So, especially for an action movie that's this high stakes, it's like, clearly shit has to happen.
Yeah.
But starting out, before the intro sequence, right? You have, they lose plutonium, right, to this group of baddies. They catch the guy after like a car wreck. They then have him wake up in a hospital, convince him that it's 2 weeks later, roll fake footage that an explosion happened, right, on CNN. Then they make a deal with him that if they read the manifesto on CNN, that he'll give them a passcode to unlock a phone, right, that they need to locate John Lark. And so he agrees. He gives them the passcode. They read the manifesto on air, right? And then it turns out he's not in the hospital. The wreck wasn't 2 weeks ago. It was 1 hour ago. And Wolf Blitzer is fucking Simon Pegg in a mask.
Yeah.
And then the title, like, all of that happens in the span of like 20 minutes. And it's like, what the fuck? And then it just, like, it starts out going fast. And then it just floors it.
Yeah. And never lets up.
Dude, it's insane. It steadily goes up. Like you said, one of the greatest hand-to-hand fight scenes is the one on the mountain, and I like that fight scene. Mm-hmm. But to me, one of the best fight scenes in the fucking in the whole series is that one in the fucking bathroom with the guy that they think is John Lark, and Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise fight that fucking guy. That is a great fucking fight scene.
Yeah,
that's a great fight scene. Other than when he cocks his biceps, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in a movie. But I don't know how that made it past the fucking
the editing.
There's no reason they should have kept that. It is the dumbest fucking thing. But I mean, it's funny. But
Yeah.
that fight scene is fucking great. Uh, and then Ilsa coming back and shooting him in the face, like the fact they brought her back, I really liked. Uh, just everything about this fucking movie. The fact that he has to break out the guy that he just put away in 5.
Yeah.
Right? That's
That he
cool.
has to go get him.
Yeah, to get the plutonium back, they want to trade for that guy. So he has to go and get that fucking guy back out of fucking, I guess, an armored car. They're transporting him to another fucking secure location.
Well, and it also gives you the character of the CIA guy, and I forget his name, but it gives you the CIA guy, and you're like, immediately, the arrogance with that dude when they meet him on the fucking tarmac at that Air Force base, you're like, I don't fucking like this guy. Something ain't right. Like, you can tell something's not right, but he pulls it off far enough into the movie that you're like, okay, maybe it's just a my dick's bigger than yours kind of deal going on between the two guys. Like, I'm CIA, well, I'm fucking, IMF, and I've done this and I've done this. It's like a dick measuring contest. So you're like, okay, it's two, serious, like alpha males.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some ego and some arrogance and blah blah blah. But when he goes and talks to the lady, and it's very subtle. It's very subtle. When he gives himself away, they pull a phone off of the dead guy in the bathroom, and the screen's all broken and fucked up. When he goes and meets the CIA director, he gives her a phone that has a brand new fresh screen on it.
Yeah, and he's trying to use it to frame.
Yeah. And
Tom
you're
Cruise's
like, this
character.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
This motherfucker. I knew there was something about him I liked, but it gets you. It's like, I don't like the son of a bitch. And then you're like, okay, I'm okay with him. And then it goes right back to that motherfucker.
Yeah.
One of those type deals. So,
and then the way that they get him to admit what he is.
oh yeah.
Like this movie, all of these movies, the way that they use masks is fucking great.
Yeah.
Because it like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh shit. And then you realize what's going on, and that Simon Pegg's really in the mask, and they've got the real, like, there's so many cool fucking scenes in this movie, and they all work and they all make sense.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're all super believable. Clearly you can't just put on a mask and have a fucking voice changing chip on your, like, there's a little bit of creative liberties taken.
But couldn't you? Like,
I don't
with the way technology is now, okay, granted, had this movie came out 25 years ago, it's probably unbelievable. But the day and age that we live in now, I really feel like it's feasible to think that there are movie grade masks that are being made by dudes on Instagram in their fucking garage that like attach to your lips and attach at the eyes, so they look and move and articulate as if they were like original skin, like OEM skin, right? Is it so far-fetched to think that the technology the CIA is using guaranteed is 10 years ahead of what we've got?
Yeah, it may be.
So it could be there.
Yeah, I don't know how practical it is, but I mean, it very well could.
Yeah.
But and then you have the chase scene where Tom Cruise is chasing after Henry Cavill's character on foot, and Simon Pegg is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. No, take a left. Sorry, I had
screen lock
on.
He's like, "What do you go cross the bridge? I'm jumping out of a fucking window."
Oh shit! I had it in 2D. Sorry.
Like, there's this movie, I think, is like the height of like the comedy relief aspect without it being annoying. Like there are certain movies that try to, like, they're action movies and they have the comedy sidekick or whatever, and he's just kind of annoying. It's like, you're fucking dumb.
And
but
you know what?
Simon Pegg's character isn't dumb. He just says funny shit.
It's also one of those things where there is a lot of reference to Tom Cruise's wife from the original 3 of the series, right? Where he has these god awful nightmares and he wakes up in a panic. And to somebody who's watching this one and has never seen any of the others, you're like, well, who the fuck is that? And then you meet the British intelligence girl, and it's like, well, they kind of look alike. Maybe it's just a different actress or blah, 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 whatever. But then Ving Rhames steps in and tells the girl, this is the deal. This is why this happened. So it explains, even though it shouldn't have to, right? But it still explains in enough detail to get the point across, with a good enough actor to portray like, this is something that hurts me to even have to tell you, right? So that scene right there proves to me that Ving Rhames has got some fucking acting chops, dude. He looked like he was legit crying.
Yeah. So and what I like about it is that it's exposition, but it doesn't come across as just exposition. Like, it serves the plot.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's just him telling some backstory, but it kind of establishes character motivations without just like. And then 10 years ago, he was married to this chick, and then he had to leave. Like, it gives it's a little bit more to it. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. So the helicopter scene, right? Obviously, first Tom Cruise is fucking piloting that helicopter, which is insane. Right? He's literally licensed to fly like airplanes, combat, fucking planes, helicopters, all that shit. Of course, why not? He's fucking Tom Cruise.
He's Tom Cruise.
So, and apparently, like, he and Christopher McQuarrie and I guess J.J. Abrams, they all set and like drew out this fucking helicopter scene, and then practiced the maneuvers and shit and got it down to where they could really pull it off, which is fucking nuts. But they did that. And it's like the stakes at the end of Fallout are about as high of stakes as you can have in an action movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it doesn't get any higher than that.
Yeah.
And then the way that at the end where he's going to get the detonator and he gets it and the screen cuts to like that white fade out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like for a second, you're like, fuck, did the nuke go off?
Exactly.
It starts coming back into frame and it's a sunset, but at first it kind of looks like some fucking nuclear blast or some shit off in the distance.
Yeah.
And then you realize what's happening. You're like, oh, of course. Okay. They got it last fucking second, But it's the perfect fucking action movie.
Yeah.
Which
absolutely
obviously makes me excited for 7, but it's also like, I don't know how they can outdo themselves. Like, I'm sure they will because they've done it consistently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you watch Ghost Protocol, you're like, dude, how do they do it better than that?
Yeah, and then you watch 5 and you're like,
Ghost Protocol is admittedly a great movie.
Absolutely.
And then you see Rogue Nation and you're like, fuck that. That's, I guess, there you go. That's how. But surely they can't outdo that.
And then Fallout
and then
just
see Fallout and you're like, well, wrong again. I'm 0 for 2 here, guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the fact that it's the same crew making 7.
Yeah.
Like, I think 7, like, I'm excited.
To be honest with you, I thought Mission Impossible 3 was a great movie.
Yeah, I would probably, I mean, we're not rating it, but I'd give Mission Impossible 3 like a 4.
Yeah.
I think it's still great. I don't think it's as good as Ghost Protocol. I literally think if you don't look at episode 1 or 2 and you start at 3, which is where this timeline is established, they progressively get better. And it's the only series that I see that's done that. Where each sequel progressively gets better. But so yeah, we both give this one a 5. So 2 fucking 10s.
2 10s
in the trilogy as we're reviewing it.
28.5, right? Gives it a, let's see,
9.5. Is it
28? 9.5 divided by 3 gives it a 9.5 overall as a series.
So where does that stack up?
Well, let's see. The Matrix as a series got 7.3. 007 as a series got an 8.1. Mission Impossible got a 9.5. So,
And just out of curiosity, what did we give the John Wicks?
let's see. We got an 8, a 9, and a 9.5.
So that's less.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's
8.
it's less.
That would have had an 8.83. So that would have fell in between 007 and Mission Impossible.
Which is right where
I think is right where it deserves to be.
Now, I don't see the Bourne series dethroning Mission Impossible, but hey, we'll see. It's been a while since I've watched them. But these fucking movies are so goddamn good.
So I know we didn't plan on it, but I'm gonna put the Wick series in there with the average rating, so it kind of we can see where everything stacks up.
Okay.
So right now, clear winner is Mission Impossible, followed by John Wick, followed by 007, followed by The Matrix.
Yeah, isn't that crazy that Matrix is at the bottom?
No, because I've said it, dude. I'm a dumb movie guy. I like dumb fucking movies that I can just sit back and watch one dude punch another dude and them chase each other in a car and then have a fucking shootout and burn a building down or, blow up a fucking castle or whatever the fucking case is. I like watching dumb shit like that where I don't have to be involved in a storyline and I don't have to know who's mama's cousin's sister's fucking who and any of that shit. I don't like that. I don't like movies I got to think a lot about.
But
minimal.
With that being said, it's like these movies are the perfect movie for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like it has enough. It's literally like the combination of everything that you want in an action movie.
And I think that the thing about the storyline, like understanding the people and stuff like that, is that it's so compact. It feels like this big giant thing, right? Whereas in John Wick, it felt like this big empire of people, and then it kind of showed you that it's this big empire of people. So then it's like, I don't really know that I believe that there's fucking 200 people in this town square or whatever. And then all of a sudden they just stop what they're doing because there's 9,000 assassins in the city of New York, Whereas in the Mission Impossible series, you get this idea that there's this giant organization behind everything. And there's this huge group of people that are the upper tier elites, right? But you never see them. You only see 3 or 4 of them, 5 at the most. So it feels a lot smaller than it is. So knowing that this dude's the guy from that movie and this is what he did and this is who he belongs to, like all of that kind of works together and you understand all the players without it being overwhelming.
Yeah.
So it gives me all the fucking action that I want and just enough storyline to be interesting without being overwhelming.
Yeah. So it's extreme. It's large in scope when you think about it, but as far as the characters go, it stays pretty contained. Like you know who you're supposed to care about, and you know what they're fighting for, and you know who they're fighting, and you know why the people on the other side are fighting what they're fighting for. Like all of the motives are pretty apparent. But it does it without, like I said, being overly exposition heavy.
Yeah.
There is dialogue, but there's no scene where it's like a 20-minute exposition spiel. Just like this is what's happening.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like the minions, right, that are on the motorcycles in Rogue Nation that are chasing everybody around. Like they don't have names.
Yeah,
Like they're not even fucking credited. They're credited actors as dude on motorcycle. Like that's
yeah,
who
but
they
they
are. They
don't.
don't even have names. You,
Yeah,
you don't need to know their name and their backstory and what they did for a living. You know, oh, they call him the fucking bone doctor because he used to butcher cows and then he started butchering people. No, they call him bone doctor because I mean I know what he does. And then he rolls out this thing with a fucking hammer and a saw in it. Clearly, he fucks people up. Like
yeah,
that's what he's here
yeah,
for.
yeah. Yeah,
So
and then they do the thing in Fallout that's kind of cool, where there's the scene where they're gonna bust him out of the armored truck. They get him out. They're putting him in a car, and a police chick walks by and sees what's going on
yeah,
and draws her gun. Like that's a really pivotal scene, and it involves a character that we don't even know her fucking name, and she
yeah,
never shows up again. But I really like how they did that, because it kind of shows that, like, I don't know, it kind of shows like why Ethan Hunt, I guess, is on the good side.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Why he's fighting on the good side, because like obviously it would have been easier to just
Shoot the fucking cop and walk off.
later, and then haul
Yeah.
off. But he didn't want to do that. Instead, he ends up shooting the fucking 4 or 5 bad guys.
Yeah. That again didn't have names, didn't have backstories, they didn't offer anything. They're just fucking goons.
Yeah, they're just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fucking great movie, man.
So-
So fucking good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Bourne's gonna stack up. I do like the Bourne movies, though. I'll give you that. I like
I
them.
mean, I like them, but I don't think I like them as much as I like Mission Impossible.
But where do you think it'll stack up between? I think Mission Impossible is pretty untouchable.
Yeah.
At this point, do you think it stacks up between The Matrix and 007 or 007 and John Wick?
I'm going to say it's going to fall between Matrix and 007, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Because I think the only reason I'm saying that is I think that if I remember correctly, I really wasn't a fan of the Bourne Supremacy because it had that really choppy editing for all the fight scenes,
Yeah.
which all of the Bournes had. But I think in Supremacy, it's really bad, if I remember right. Like to the point where you can't tell what's going on.
Yeah.
And if it is like that, then yeah, I won't give it a good score. The Bourne Ultimatum, I know has some of that, but you can kind of still tell what's going on, and it's
Yeah.
more stylized. But in the Supremacy, for some reason, it was almost like they were hiding the fact that people couldn't pull off the fight scenes.
Yeah. You know, it's a good action movie that came across when I was searching for Mission Impossible, that like where to watch them. And by the way, you can watch the entire collection if you have a Roku. You can just search, and it has the entire collection all in one place. Amazon Prime, you can rent them for $2.99 a piece, or you can watch them with.
And I think Fallout's on Hulu.
Yeah,
I think.
Fallout's on Hulu,
Yeah.
but that's the only one that I could find for free anywhere.
Which, dude, if you haven't seen it, fucking watch it.
Oh yeah,
Watch it.
absolutely. But the another movie that I came across that I completely forgot about that was a really good fucking movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith
That's a great movie.
with Brad and Angelina.
Yeah, that's
That
a
was
really
a
good movie.
really good movie, dude.
That's a funny fucking movie.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just because we have a little time. I watched Moneyball
Moneyball?
the other day. Have you seen that?
Uh-uh.
You've never seen Moneyball with Brad Pitt
I don't think so.
and Jonah Hill.
No,
You should watch that.
I don't think so.
You
Let's
need
see.
to watch that. It's not an action movie. It's like a drama, and it's about Billy Beane. He was the general manager for the Oakland A's.
Okay.
And it's about like him trying to figure out a way that they can make like a poor team like the Oakland A's beat the New York Yankees. Like the Oakland A's had $30 million to spend on players where the New York Yankees had like $130 million.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out how can we beat this. But it's like there's the sports element to it, but dude, it's one of the best fucking drama movies like ever.
Huh.
You need
All right.
you need to watch it.
Well, I mean, I found it right here on my streaming service. So
You can watch it and tell me what you think because I think you'll like it a lot. Fucking Robert in chat telling us we need to participate white chat more. I don't know. You guys should review Machete. Machete's not very good, Robert. I'm not a fan.
Machete.
He also says that the Bourne series is eh.
Hey, Machete had one good thing going for it.
Jessica.
Lindsay Lohan's yams in a pool, and this is like post drug crisis where she actually started eating again.
Okay.
So
That was in the sequel, wasn't it?
no, that was in Machete. 100%.
I thought Machete 2 was the one with Lindsay Lohan. I thought Machete 1 was the one with Jessica Alba. I could be wrong.
No, Jessica Alba was in Machete 1 too.
1 or 2.
Let's see. 1.
Uh-huh. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I watched those movies.
Machete.
Yeah, I thought there was a sequel, and I thought that was one with Lindsay Lohan. It's been a while since I watched them, though.
Nope. Machete 1. Cast: Danny Trejo, Michelle Rodriguez, Jessica Alba, Lindsay Lohan.
Okay.
For show.
But yeah,
That's it. That's what we
I think
got.
That's it. That's it. But we'll see how
The
the Bourne series stacks up.
Yeah.
We'll see if my prediction is right. What do you think? You think it'll beat out 007?
I think it'll definitely beat the Matrix. I don't know that it'll beat out 007. If it does, it'll be by a pretty narrow margin. But I seriously doubt it's going to beat John Wick, and I know it ain't touching Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So I think if it does beat out, 007, it'll be close.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could wind up with an 8.5 average rating and sit right there in between, 007 and John Wick. So
It's really going to depend on how much I don't like Bourne Supremacy. It really is. Because I think, if I remember right, Identity's good, Ultimatum's great, and Supremacy is trash, if I remember right.
yeah.
So
Well, we'll see.
we'll
So
see.
there you go. You have your movies to watch next week if you so choose. If you don't, you can just come back and listen to us talk trash about them.
Yeah.
Or maybe not talk trash about them. Who knows? So
We'll see. Maybe they'll get 10s. Who knows?
it's going to be fucking hard.
They're not going to get 10s.
Yeah. Holy shit, Leonardo DiCaprio is in chat.
Leonardo. Hold on. Whoever that was. You couldn't even Google DiCaprio?
Wow, way to go, Charlie.
Leonardo DiCaprio is
Yeah.
in chat.
Maybe it's D's Nuts Caprio.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
D is his middle name.
DiCaprio. That's funny, dude.
Jesus.
Ooh, chest hair. We do need to do that.
A Tarantino series?
Yeah. That'll have to be one. for
I like
sure.
the Tarantino. Okay, if we were going to do that, which 3 would you put up?
Django Unchained,
Okay.
Inglourious Bastards,
Mm-hmm.
Hateful Eight.
I was literally going to say those 3.
Because we've already talked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yep.
and everybody already knows that Pulp Fiction is great.
Mm-hmm. What do you
And
think was in the box? What do you think was in the briefcase?
I don't fucking know. I'd really have to rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen it.
There's a lot of speculation. You should look into that. You should look into the speculative theories of what was in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. There's a lot of good theories out there.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. What was in the box in Seven?
His wife's head.
It was his wife said. Exactly.
Duh.
That's another one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. Absolute.
I don't care what Kevin Spacey did. That's a great movie.
That's a definite 5. You know what? If you go back and watch it, it makes, knowing now what we know, it makes Kevin Spacey's fucking character even that much more fucking weird.
It does.
like yo, man, he was molesting kids and cutting off pregnant women's heads. Dude.
Yeah. It's like, man, I wonder how somebody could play somebody that fucked up. Oh, now I get it.
Oh, because he's that fucked up. That's
because he's that fucked up.
Even though I will say, even, you know, it also makes his character, Frank Underwood, in House of Cards, that much more disgusting of a human being. Because he was already a shitbag.
Yeah. We need to end this shit show before things get crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, we are out of here. We will see you next week.
Later, guys. Jesus.